In this podcast episode, Dr. Andrew Huberman and Dr. Paul Conti explore mental health through a lens of what is inherently going right within us. They discuss practical tools for building self-agency, confidence, and emotional well-being by emphasizing curiosity, self-reflection balanced with action, and understanding one's internal mental framework. The conversation covers how individuals can cultivate a flexible and malleable self-concept, the importance of being on one's own side against internal and external challenges, and the nuanced relationship between introspection and doing. Dr. Conti's decades of clinical experience come through as he explains how to navigate common mental health difficulties, manage intrusive thoughts, address childhood trauma, and foster genuine happiness. Dr. Conti advocates for beginning self-exploration from a position of strength by focusing on what is going right rather than what is wrong. He highlights that if we are here and seeking to better ourselves, there is far more functioning well within us than malfunction. This optimistic foundation fosters curiosity and reduces the fear or hopelessness often imposed by traditional mental health paradigms that emphasize deficits and pathology. By emphasizing existing strengths and natural agency, individuals can better identify areas where change is desired and approach that process with hope and enthusiasm. The malleability of our self-view and relationship with ourselves is a key theme. Although many people feel stuck or inflexible, change is possible through compassionate curiosity, an openness to learn about oneself without harsh judgment. Reflecting on self-talk, life narratives, and the stories we tell about ourselves can reveal unconscious patterns and areas for growth. Dr. Conti explains that humans share structural pillars of self that balance internal states and external behaviors, and gaining awareness of these components enhances self-understanding and mental health. Dr. Conti introduces the idea that people's thoughts and feelings can be highly state-dependent, varying dramatically with different social contexts or when alone. However, he emphasizes that above these fluctuating internal states exists an observing self or observing ego that integrates and knits together our experiences across time and situation. Developing this observer perspective is critical for mental health, as it allows us to notice differences in how we present ourselves or feel in various conditions, while maintaining a coherent sense of identity. The conversation acknowledges modern challenges posed by social media's omnipresence, which blurs the boundary between introspective alone time and an externally influenced, connected existence. Dr. Conti notes that human brains evolved for periods of solitude, reflection, and experiential separation that the constant influx of others' curated lives can disrupt. While social connection is essential to mental health, the digital age risks diminishing precious aloneness that nurtures self-reflection, preference formation, and emotional regulation. A healthy balance between external input and internal processing remains vital. One of the most important distinctions made is that mental health is not solely an introspective process. It requires a dynamic balance between thinking and doing. Excessive rumination without action can lead to stagnation, while too much doing without reflection can cause dissatisfaction or burnout. Dr. Conti stresses that different individuals have unique propensities and needs along this reflection-action spectrum. Mental health work involves assessing where one currently resides on this spectrum and making adjustments to establish an effective, personalized balance that fosters growth and fulfillment. Addressing variations in how people process thoughts and emotions, the discussion explores internal processors, who dwell on and analyze experiences internally, and external processors, who work through understanding by speaking with others or articulating thoughts aloud. Dr. Conti clarifies that these are not rigid categories but tendencies, and highlights the value of transferring thoughts into language or dialogue to activate different brain systems that aid clarity and insight. Collaborative communication can enhance mental health by providing external feedback and alternative perspectives. Curiosity toward oneself is presented as a central tool for mental health development. It can be lighthearted or serious, solitary or social, but essentially involves open, non-judgmental inquiry into one's thoughts, feelings, motivations, behaviors, and desires. Dr. Conti suggests starting with questions about self-talk, life stories, and motivations behind habitual patterns as a way to gain clarity. Asking, "Why am I doing this?" or "Is this truly what I want?" helps one build agency and intentionality, marking the beginning of meaningful change. Acknowledging the common human experience of knowing what to do but struggling to implement change, Dr. Conti notes that resistance often stems from unconscious forces rooted in fear, protection, or unprocessed past experiences. Insight into these underlying dynamics, especially recognizing how past trauma or family patterns influence current behavior, empowers individuals to stop feeling controlled by unseen forces. By becoming on one's own side, people can understand and mitigate internal conflicts, reducing self-sabotage and enhancing motivation. Insight into the impact of childhood and early family patterns is identified as a key liberating mechanism. Whether a person replicates or rebels against these patterns, awareness allows them to make deliberate choices rather than repeat automatic responses. Dr. Conti explains that insight diffuses internal tension generated from unconscious repetition of old templates, fostering a sense of empowerment and control. This compassionate curiosity about history and motivation is vital for breaking destructive cycles and crafting healthier present lives. Intrusive, repetitive negative thoughts are common, but often unrecognized phenomena. Dr. Conti emphasizes increasing awareness of these self-talk loops as a primary step. He advises examining their purpose, frequency, and emotional charge with curiosity rather than avoidance. Strategies include thought redirection, cognitive reframing, and, where appropriate, therapeutic or medicinal support. The goal is not suppression, but understanding and integrating these thoughts, meaning to achieve greater mental flexibility and reduce their disruptive impact. While more tentative in this area, Dr. Conti acknowledges that dreams often carry meaningful content reflective of unconscious mind processes. Curiosity about dreams and attention to their narratives can deepen self-understanding, though not all dreams are easily interpreted or meaningful. He cautions against overinterpretation while encouraging respectful exploration as a supplementary tool for insight. Openness to dream symbolism may reveal allegorical connections to emotional experiences and life patterns. Dr. Conti addresses the difficulty many face in differentiating past trauma from present experience, because the emotional brain does not perceive time linearly. The limbic system can resurrect past fears, making old emotional wounds feel current. He stresses compassionate acknowledgement of this phenomenon as a first step and suggests slow, careful exploration of these intense feelings to regain a sense of safety and temporal grounding. This approach mitigates overwhelming anxiety and helps integrate traumatic memories with present awareness. Effective trauma healing involves revisiting the past with an open, compassionate attitude, devoid of the need to minimize or exaggerate events. The goal is equanimity, observing what happened, understanding how it shaped current functioning, and assessing what changes can foster growth and healing. Dr. Conti emphasizes that trauma does not have to define or imprison us. Through self-reflection and potentially support from trusted others or therapists, individuals can transform their relationship to these experiences and reclaim agency. Contrasting common negativity bias, Dr. Conti encourages regular attention to positive memories, successes, and effortful achievements. Surrounding oneself with reminders, like photographs of meaningful moments, primes the unconscious mind toward optimism and reinforces internal confidence. This climate control within the mind establishes a foundation of resilience and hope essential for sustaining mental health. Recognizing and honoring what has gone right cultivates contentment and balance alongside awareness of current struggles. Discussing the archetypal concepts of good and evil, God and the devil, Dr. Conti suggests these frameworks can provide psychological tools for motivating behavior change by externalizing internal conflict. However, he warns against simplistic dualism that can lead to self-punishment or rigid identification. A nuanced spiritual view acknowledges multiple forces towards creation and destruction existing both externally and within, inviting humility and openness. This complexity enriches mental health work by fostering acceptance without simplistic moral judgments. Dr. Conti rejects the idea that happy-go-lucky, carefree living is a realistic or desirable goal. True happiness involves integration of peace, contentment, and capacity for delight, alongside awareness and acceptance of life's inherent difficulties. He emphasizes that moments of peace do not require constant bliss, but a balanced presence with self and environment. The pursuit of happiness is embracing both joyful experiences and inevitable challenges while maintaining a grounded intentionality and openness to life's unfolding. Drawing on clinical and personal experience, Dr. Conti shares that individuals reflecting on their lives near death often express a sense of peace rooted in acceptance and gratitude despite hardships. They highlight the value of doing the best one can and embracing the totality of one's lived experience, including mistakes and losses. This mature perspective combines realistic appraisal with contentment and joy, providing an aspirational model of how to relate to one's life trajectory meaningfully and healthily. Dr. Conti reflects on writing his book as a clarifying process that deepened his understanding of self and human mental health. Articulating complex clinical insights into accessible language reinforced his belief in the malleability of the mind and the power of structured inquiry and intentional living. He experienced renewed optimism about helping people navigate their mental landscapes and appreciated the synergy of clinical work, public education, and personal growth.